What's going on, guys? This is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Today we're going to be driving around my Element Gatekeeper. However, this one's got some serious modifications because it is actually sitting on axial Capra axles, as well as a full Spektrum Firma electronics kit. Up front we've got a Spektrum Servo. This is the S6280, which is the full-size standard servo. And then in the back, we've got a 6250, which is actually a little bit stubbier, so it's not quite as long, which actually really helps out with clearance with the back crossmember here between the bumper mount and the crossmember. Now, I made a video at one point talking about how I destroyed this truck and it fell down a 40-foot cliff, and I rebuilt it, and that was all fun. And then it fell off a cliff again. So this is its third rebuild, and you can see here, got some new wheels and tires on it. 2.2s Pitbull tires, and man, this truck is wide. So if we look at my SCX-10-2 up here, the Gatekeeper there has more than a full tire width wider. So really big truck. It's also got a little over a 13-inch wheelbase, so this thing's pretty good size. We're gonna hit the rocks, see what kind of lines we can do, and not to mention, it also has rear steer, and again, that Spektrum Firma brushless crawler motor, which we're gonna talk more about in a second. Well, all right, guys, here we are. We've got our rear steer working, and we've got our front steer independent of the rears. So I actually mount my GoPro to my controller to have this kind of control. So I'm driving with two hands, and then I'm just pointing the controller at the truck. So if the view's a little off, I apologize. I definitely try my best here. So getting ourselves right into a vertical steep climb. Taking a quick reverse there. So we may actually have to go up like just the one side of this wall. And this is kind of a test and tune run. I haven't really changed the settings on the motor and ESC yet. It's also got single stage foams, which I typically run dual stage, so might be getting a little bit different experience here today than what I am used to. So as part of my truck falling off a cliff for the second time, it broke my cage again. And now it's held on with a Velcro strap in the rear, so that's super cool. Really high-tech stuff there. This thing's very bouncy right now. I can tell that the whole way to the truck on those single stage just wants to hop around. So we did get that climb. So that is one of my favorite parts about rear steer, is that you can get it to crab crawl like that. Guess we got to work the truck a little higher up before try and get it balanced. Now this thing is way wide compared to anything else I drive, so kind of what I'm used to guessing the line on. It's a little bit different shape here. Very interesting. Let's see if we can get the truck to come back up now. It basically fell all the way down, but put my truck in a good spot to climb. So now we got to jump over to this side. Got a little bit of a ledge on the front right, but we want to keep that rear balanced. Oh, we're close. That's it. Okay, take a small back up. Good wheel control here with this motor and ESC. Like I say, I haven't really messed with the settings, so right out of the box, liking the performance I'm seeing. And we got the nose wedged up in a rock. This truck might be a little too tall for this part. Maybe try and work it further up the rock. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be possible with this truck. It might be a little too big. This front end is so light. Now we're getting a little sideways. Okay, pulled it off. No way you could really do that without rear steer, so always fun to get out and play with the rear steer truck. If you guys don't have one, I highly recommend it. The way I'm controlling it is with my FlySky GT5, and it's the channel 5 and 6 on top of the controller. And yeah, just as much as you twist it right or left, it changes your steering right or left. A pro tip for you guys is you can set endpoints on those dials as well. So if you want more or less steering, you just set the endpoint adjustment on the controller on channel 5 or 6, and it will turn more or less depending on what you want it to do. I always look at my axles when I'm turning and try and get them to stop turning where the axle steering stop is. So for example, these axial Capra knuckles have a little molded in plastic bit, and that's where they don't really want the truck to turn any sharper than that. Oh man, that was too far backing up. Tons of traction, that's what we needed to do. There we go, finally got up some ledges. Learning how the new truck's driving. You don't make every climb you try, but that was a pretty good one. So on this style of rock, it puts a ton of strain on the truck just because there's so much traction, and really so far I'm definitely having no complaints on these Spektrum Servos. They got a couple 100 Nm of torque, which is pretty good. I think it's up around like 400 or 500 depending on the voltage you put into them, so definitely can't complain about the power of them. And they're also very quiet. I've been running Savic servos on a lot of my other stuff, and man, those things are just noisy little buggers. This truck is super quiet. Its brushless motor's quiet. It's really just kind of a stealthy little truck outside of the ESC fan, which obviously you can just unplug if you wanted to. But it's pretty warm where I'm crawling right now, so I think I'll just let it run. It's not gonna hurt anything to let the fan run if it doesn't really need it. There we go, that's a cool spot. Trying to get the tires worked through here. And we'll turn back into it because the sidewall needs some traction over there. Oh, we're lifting front tire, we don't want to flip it. Now when your front end gets like light like this, in a four-wheel steer rig, it's really easy to change the pressure on the suspension by wiggling your rear tires, especially on a climb. So if it starts getting light like that, just make some small adjustments to your rear steer and it should change what's going on with the front end. There it goes, tires popping up over those rocks. Like I say, tons of traction, pretty awesome. Nice tight turning radius. Let's do a big descent here. Barely caught itself, but pulled it off. Luckily it's got that long wheelbase. So I was able to hang on to the top while it set the nose down. Pretty awesome on descending, really. Especially because I did not go into that square at all. This truck's crawling pretty good. It needs some tuning, but it's the first time out with this setup. They always do. Just because, let's see what kind of lines we can pull off without some rear steer, because this truck's pretty long and it does have decent steering on the axles, but let's drive it like a tag axle, get our rear tires where we want them, and then kind of got to drive around it. Kind of missed our hook on that back right tire, but I think we'll make it work. I did not stack these rocks. I know that they've hosted RC competitions out here before, so I'm guessing those were previously stacked for an RC comp. Go. Turn into it a little more. I want to climb the tallest ledge possible, but also not just belly out. Keeping the belly off the rock there, just barely. Nice, good traction on these Pitbull tires. After you've lost your truck twice off of big cliffs, is it going to stop you from climbing on the edges of cliffs? Right now, I'm kind of standing on the edge of a cliff and driving this RC crawler. Just taking my time. Okay, you gotta watch that underhang because that's where you can get into real trouble. Is if the motor continues to turn, it'll flip the truck right over backwards. Whole servo moving the whole rear of the truck. Rear servo controlling the whole truck is kind of what I meant to say. It's bellied up. Looks like we broke off a piece of the rock. A lot of strain going on when you do stuff like that. I'm trying to avoid it. You can kind of hear in the fan when the servos are trying to eat a lot of power. Probably need to turn up the internal BEC on this brushless motor combo. Run it as high as I can since I'm running 2 servos. Okay, those rear links were caught up on the rocks. Hey, we did it, guys. We didn't fall off the cliff. That's neat. All right. See if we can't get the belly to come through here. Working that rear to push the truck in the direction I want. Helping the front end settle back down. Probably gonna go a little bit higher than I think I need to try and keep that slider on the high side of that rock. And then we're gonna pivot right around it. Front end's gonna come down. Give us a little bit of bite there. Maybe try and straighten the rears. Hunting for traction. This front tire's getting pushed. The rear tire grabbed that ledge, and now the whole truck should slide right across. Oh dear. Ooh, don't tip. All right. Now we're just planted on our front steering. This is nasty terrain, all these little formations here. Get the front up and over. Let's swoop the rear down actually and try and avoid that little formation we just ran into. Just drive over the top instead. And there we go. Another win for the old Gatekeeper here on Capra axles with rear steer. Well, I tried to climb up this, but didn't really work coming from the bottom. So you know what? I'm gonna start at the top and see if I can wheel my way down. So let's try and drop into this ravine. Need to get that front end across. Whew. A lot of strain going on your parts right there. Take it back up. Oh, now we're in trouble. Need a better view of what's going on. One problem we're gonna have is our nose is caught, so we're gonna need to keep backing up actually. Okay, our servo got a little bit bound up there, understandably. And I just keep mentioning that because these are new servos to me. I just kind of want to make a mental note of it. So now let's kick the rear over. Should drop down and climb. Take a little back up, take some pressure off of it, get those tires across, and we've done it. We're balanced in this canyon now. So we're gonna try and keep our hook on that top corner over there. And we may even need to drive out of that actually. And then keep it just on the edge. I wasn't watching my rears, that was a mistake. This truck is so wide, like I just can't get over it because I'm so used to spotting for my SCX-10 width trucks now and like trying to pick lines for that. And man, it's just, this thing reaches like 2 inches beyond where I expect the tires to end up. Yeah, this is good. I like this. Front end's climbing, the rear end's coming down. Just to keep it nice and balanced. Actually, I want to bring that rear up just a little so that it hangs onto that rock. Okay, we got through it. Took some work, took 2 tries, but that's all right. Okay, we'll try and move along here because there's nothing real crazy going on. Just kind of got to follow the walls. Work that rear towards the opening. And then make sure the front catches the wall on the left side. Rear went exactly where we wanted it. Front's good. So we don't really have an exit strategy other than down. So I don't think we're ever gonna make a transition through here. All right, guys, I so rarely do this. I moved a rock, but maybe, just maybe, that will make this ending possible. And I'm doing it for you guys. So, I mean, I rarely move rocks around here. I like to just wheel what's there, just to try and keep it a little more realistic for what the real terrain is. I mean, there's so much good terrain out here. There's not a whole lot of reason to move rocks around. It's either possible or it isn't, if you know what I'm saying. But here we go. Okay, I almost lost that front right. I'm still losing it. Get it back on the wall. The front left's gonna drop and it's gonna unsettle this whole truck. Ooh, that was really nice. It actually set down super calm. I figured the whole thing was gonna slide, but now we're gonna get real steep right here. And that's the end. It's about as far as we're gonna get with this thing. All right, guys, this is probably gonna be the last clip here on this video with the axial Gatekeeper. Of course, I say that tongue in cheek. This is an Element Gatekeeper kit that I've put a bunch of axial stuff on. So let's see if we can't crab into this wall, try and span this gap. I mean, as you can tell, this is one of my favorite things to do, is to just try and keep the truck balanced, especially on these weird shaped rock formations. It just makes it a real challenge and I really enjoy it. Gotta scrub that front tire just right. Oh no, we're in trouble. Oh yeah, we're in big trouble. Let's get it out of there. Okay, let's give this one more go here. Try and get that front tire planted just where we need it. Now start working the rear up. Nice, got the front end up where we need it. That rear's coming into the wall. I think this should work out nicely as long as the front will stay planted. It's gonna try and rotate the truck. See that front left scooting across that rock? It's because that right tire wants to rotate the truck. Come on, full passenger. Need to watch my rears. They're coming up. Nice and slow. Really liking this Spektrum brushless crawler motor, as well as these Spektrum Servos. Nice and quiet, good strength. This truck's just creeping around. It's kind of my gate creeper right now. So there we go. Dip a rear right as the front comes off the wall. And that's gonna flex our truck out, but it's also gonna keep it balanced. And then right here, we can turn all four this way. So we're just crabbing across. The one tire is gonna be in the crack and the truck will drive out. Well, right on, guys. My name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. That's going to be it for the Gatekeeper today. I hope you enjoyed the content. It's the third rebuild of this thing. I'm sorry it's been gone for a little while, but unfortunately I can't just build the truck every single week, even though that I try. So what we're going to do from here is go out and drive my SCX 10.2 versus my low range RC competition truck. So stay tuned on my channel to see that video coming up next on these rocks. I greatly appreciate your guys' time. Drop a comment down below, hit the affiliate links, and then go follow my brother's YouTube channel, Austin's Off-Road Garage. He builds real trucks in his shop, works on them, and hits the trails. It's really awesome. Go check it out. We'll see you guys in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.